Good evening, BZB, and welcome to Sleep Better Podcast by BZB's Honey, where we share special sleep stories to help you sleep better. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the incredible dedication and care you pour into each day. Your commitment to nurturing others is truly admirable, but tonight, this time is solely for you. It's your turn to be cared for, to be soothed, and to embrace the tranquility that you so richly deserve. Imagine for a moment the gentle embrace of serenity, wrapping around you like a soft, comforting blanket. Tonight is about letting go of the day's worries and immersing yourself in a world of peacefulness and rest. Remember, BZB, caring for yourself is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Your well-being is the foundation from which you can continue to spread kindness and compassion to the world. This story, crafted especially for you, BZB, is a journey to a place where dreams blend seamlessly with reality, where the mind finds solace and the spirit is gently lulled into a state of blissful repose. So settle in, BZB. Let the world outside fade away as we embark on this peaceful journey together. Let's begin. In the heart of a bustling city, where the echoes of the Jazz Age still resonated through its modern streets, there stood a building that seemed untouched by time. The Winslow, a grand hotel of marble and gold, was a relic of a bygone era, standing proudly amidst the steel and glass skyscrapers. It was in this hotel, a haven for those chasing dreams of old glamour, where our story unfolds. Jonathan Hayes, a young writer with a penchant for the past, had taken up residence in the Winslow, drawn by its history and allure. His eyes, always observing, captured the essence of the hotel in his writings. He was a modern-day Nick Carraway, seeking stories in the echoes of the past. Eleanor West, the hotel's enigmatic owner, was a woman of grace and mystery. With her flapper dresses and timeless elegance, she seemed as if she had stepped right out of the 1920s. Her connection to the Winslow was deep and personal, a legacy passed down through generations. Into this world of old-world charm and secret stepped Charlotte King, a successful businesswoman with an ambition that matched the towering skyscrapers of the city. Her interest in the Winslow was more than just business. It was a quest to uncover a hidden chapter of her family's history. The stage was set, the players were in place, and as the jazz band played in the Winslow's grand ballroom, stories began to intertwine. Jonathan, writing in the corner, observed the dance of the past and present, while Eleanor, the guardian of secrets, watched over her domain with a knowing smile. Charlotte's arrival at the hotel sparked curiosity and whispers. Her modern ways clashed with the old-world atmosphere of the Winslow, yet there was an undeniable charm in her determination. As she navigated the corridors filled with history, she couldn't shake off the feeling that this was more than just a business venture. It was as if the hotel itself was calling out to her, whispering secrets of a time long gone. As the night deepened, the guests of the Winslow gathered in the ballroom, where the chandeliers cast a golden glow over the dancers. Jonathan, lost in his thoughts, penned words that captured the essence of the scene. Eleanor, watching from her balcony, seemed to be searching for a face in the crowd, a ghost from her past. And Charlotte, standing at the edge of the dance floor, felt the weight of history pressing down on her, a story yet to be unraveled. The Winslow, with its grandeur and mystery, was more than just a hotel. It was a crossroads of time, a meeting place for those chasing dreams and those haunted by memories. In its halls, the past and present danced together, and for those who listened closely, the whispers of history could be heard in the rustling of silk dresses and the clinking of champagne glasses. As the night wore on, the stories of Jonathan, Eleanor, and Charlotte began to weave together, each searching for something different, yet connected by the threads of the Winslow's enigmatic allure. It was here, in this haven of past and present, that their stories would unfold, revealing secrets, dreams, and desires in the golden glow of the Jazz Age's enduring spirit. Jonathan Hayes, with his keen eye and old soul, found himself captivated by the aura of the Winslow. He had always been enchanted by the Roaring Twenties, a period he believed was the pinnacle of romance and mystery. In his small yet cozy room at the Winslow, Jonathan spent hours writing stories that bridged the past and the present, often drawing inspiration from the hotel's guests and their hidden tales. Despite his fascination with the era, Jonathan felt a sense of detachment from the modern world. He longed for a connection that transcended time, something he hoped to find within the walls of the Winslow. His chance encounter with Eleanor West and Charlotte King would soon provide him with more inspiration and intrigue than he had ever imagined. Eleanor West, the enigmatic owner of the Winslow, was a woman who seemed to embody the spirit of the Jazz Age. Her grandparents had built the hotel in the 1920s, and she had grown up listening to stories of the glittering parties and illustrious guests that had once graced its halls. Eleanor had dedicated her life to preserving the legacy of the Winslow, ensuring that its history was not lost amidst the ever-changing cityscape. However, Eleanor harbored a secret, a hidden chapter of her family's history that was intricately tied to the hotel. She was protective of this secret, fearing that its revelation could tarnish the legacy she had fought so hard to preserve. The arrival of Charlotte King, with her keen interest in the hotel's past, both intrigued and alarmed Eleanor, prompting her to revisit memories she had long tried to keep at bay. Charlotte King, a name synonymous with success in the business world, had always been driven by a desire to unravel the mysteries of her lineage. Her grandmother, whom she had never known, was rumored to have been a regular at the Winslow during the Jazz Age. Charlotte saw the Winslow as a key to unlocking her family's past, a past that her own parents had always been reluctant to discuss. Her determination to delve into the history of the Winslow brought her into the orbits of Jonathan and Eleanor. With Jonathan, she found a kindred spirit, someone who shared her fascination with the past. In Eleanor, she saw a gatekeeper holding the keys to the secrets she desperately sought. As their paths crossed, the lives of Jonathan, Eleanor, and Charlotte began to intertwine in unexpected ways. Jonathan found himself drawn to both women for different reasons. In Eleanor, he saw the embodiment of the era he so adored, while in Charlotte he found a modern reflection of his own quest for understanding and connection. Eleanor, initially wary of Charlotte's intentions, began to see in her a chance to confront the past and perhaps find closure. She saw in Jonathan a guardian of stories, someone who could appreciate and respect the legacy of the Winslow. Charlotte, driven by her quest, found unexpected allies in Jonathan and Eleanor. Jonathan's writings provided her with insights into the era she longed to understand, while Eleanor, despite her initial reservations, began to open up about the hotel's storied past. As autumn turned to winter, the trio found themselves embroiled in a journey that wove through the tapestries of time. The Winslow, with its hidden nooks and whispered secrets, became the backdrop for a story of discovery, connection, and the timeless dance between the past and the present. As winter cloaked the city in a blanket of white, the Winslow became a stage for a play of shadows and light. Jonathan, increasingly involved in his writing, began to notice subtle undercurrents beneath the hotel's tranquil surface. The more he wrote about the Winslow and its residents, the more he realized that every smile, every glance held a deeper meaning, a hidden story waiting to be told. Eleanor, feeling the pressure of Charlotte's inquiries and Jonathan's perceptive gazing, found her resolve wavering. She was torn between preserving her family's legacy and revealing the truths that had been buried within the hotel's walls. The secret she guarded was not just a tale of the past. It was a story that could alter the perception of the Winslow forever. Charlotte, ever the determined seeker, sensed that she was on the brink of a significant discovery. Her investigations had led her to a series of old letters and photographs hidden in the hotel's attic, items that connected her grandmother to the Winslow in ways she had never imagined. The more she uncovered, the more she realized that her family's history was intricately tied to the hotel and the West family. Jonathan, Eleanor, and Charlotte found themselves forming an unlikely alliance, each driven by their own motivations but bound by the mysteries of the Winslow. Jonathan's role evolved from observer to participant as he began to piece together the stories hidden within the hotel's history. His writing took on a new depth, driven by the personal connections he was forming with Eleanor and Charlotte. Eleanor, seeing the genuine interest and respect Jonathan and Charlotte had for the Winslow's legacy, began to open up. She shared stories of her grandparents, the original owners, and the heyday of the jazz age. However, she hesitated to reveal the darkest chapter of the hotel's past, a story that involved a scandal, a mysterious disappearance, and a secret that could change everything. Charlotte, with each discovery, felt closer to understanding her own family's past. The letters and photographs she found painted a picture of a passionate, if tumultuous, relationship between her grandmother and a figure from the Winslow's history. This revelation brought her closer to Eleanor as they both grappled with the implications of this newly unearthed connection. Amidst the unraveling secrets and the search for truth, a romance began to blossom between Jonathan and Charlotte. Their shared passion for history and the mysteries of the Winslow drew them closer, turning their professional respect into something deeper and more personal. Jonathan, who had always lived in the past through his writing, found himself embracing the present with Charlotte. Eleanor, observing the growing bond between Jonathan and Charlotte, felt a bittersweet sense of nostalgia. She was reminded of her own lost love, a tale entwined with the secret she guarded so closely. The presence of Jonathan and Charlotte at the Winslow seemed to be reawakening memories and emotions Eleanor had long tried to suppress. As the winter deepened, so did the complexities of the relationships within the Winslow. The hotel, with its grandeur and history, stood witness to a gathering storm of emotions and revelations. The secrets of the past, long buried beneath the veneer of elegance and propriety, began to surface, threatening to disrupt the delicate balance of the present. Eleanor, Jonathan, and Charlotte found themselves at a crossroads, each facing their own truths and fears. The story of the Winslow, a tapestry of love, loss, and legacy, was unraveling, and they were the ones to weave its threads back together. In the heart of the hotel, under the glow of the chandeliers and the watchful gaze of history, the stage was set for the climax of their intertwined destinies. The truths they were about to uncover would not only shed light on the past, but would also irrevocably change their futures. The winter's first snow had fallen, covering the Winslow in a serene white blanket. Inside, however, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and tension. Eleanor had invited Jonathan and Charlotte to a private gathering in the hotel's most secluded and opulent suite, a room that had remained locked for decades. As the trio gathered, Eleanor's demeanor was a mix of resolve and apprehension. She revealed that the night was not just a meeting, it was a revelation of the Winslow's deepest secret, a secret tied to both her family and Charlotte's. Eleanor began her story, dating back to the Jazz Age, the era of her grandparents. She spoke of a scandal that had rocked the Winslow, a love affair between her grandmother, Isabel West, and a young musician who frequently performed at the hotel. This musician was none other than Charlotte's great-grandfather. The affair had been a passionate but tumultuous one, ending abruptly with the musician's mysterious disappearance. Isabel had been heartbroken, and in her grief, she had sealed away all his belongings and memories in the suite they were now sitting in. For Charlotte, this revelation was a missing piece of her family puzzle. Her great-grandfather had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of questions and whispers. The discovery that he had been involved with Isabel West and had a significant presence at the Winslow was both shocking and enlightening. Charlotte found herself feeling an unexpected connection to Eleanor. Their families were intertwined, their histories shared. The hotel was no longer just a business interest or a historical curiosity. It was a part of her lineage. Jonathan, meanwhile, found himself in the role of the observer turned participant. He had been documenting stories of the Winslow, but now he was living one. His relationship with Charlotte took on a new depth as he realized that their connection was not just personal, but also historical. Eleanor led them to a hidden part of the suite, a room that had remained locked for nearly a century. Inside, they found a treasure trove of jazz-age memorabilia, letters, photographs, and musical instruments, a testament to the passionate affair between Isabel and the musician. Among these items was a diary belonging to Isabel, detailing her affair, the musician's disappearance, and her subsequent grief. It also contained a shocking revelation. The musician had not simply vanished. He had been forced to leave due to the societal pressures and threats from rivals. This revelation brought closure to both Eleanor and Charlotte. Eleanor could finally put to rest the shadow that had hung over her family for generations, and Charlotte found answers to questions that had lingered in her family for decades. Jonathan, witnessing this unfolding of history, realized that he had a new story to tell, a story of love, loss, and the enduring legacy of the past. The Winslow, with all its glamour and mystery, had revealed its heart. In the weeks following the grand reopening, the Winslow settled into its renewed life with a graceful ease. Eleanor and Charlotte worked tirelessly to ensure that the hotel was not just a monument to the past, but a living, breathing part of the city's present. They introduced contemporary amenities while preserving the hotel's historical charm, striking a balance between tradition and modernity. Jonathan, meanwhile, found himself a permanent fixture in the hotel's landscape. His book, Echoes of the Winslow, became a bestseller, captivating readers with its blend of historical intrigue and personal narrative. He often held readings in the hotel's lounge, where guests and locals alike would gather to hear him bring the stories of the Winslow to life. Eleanor, having revealed the hidden chapters of her family's history, felt a newfound freedom. The burden of secrets that had once weighed her down now seemed like a distant memory. She found joy in sharing the rich history of the Winslow with its guests, often leading tours of the hotel herself. The exhibit dedicated to Clara and her musician lover became a highlight of the hotel, attracting history enthusiasts and romantics alike. Eleanor often found herself there, reflecting on the power of love to transcend time and societal boundaries. Charlotte's journey had taken her from a businesswoman seeking answers about her past to a co-guardian of the Winslow's legacy. She used her business acumen to elevate the hotel's profile, ensuring it was recognized not just for its historical significance but also as a luxury destination in the modern world. Her connection to Eleanor grew stronger, bound by their shared history and mutual respect. Charlotte felt a deep sense of belonging at the Winslow, a feeling she had not known she was missing until she found it within the hotel's walls. Jonathan's success as an author brought him opportunities he had never imagined, but he always returned to the Winslow, his muse and sanctuary. The hotel had given him a wealth of stories, but more importantly, it had given him a sense of purpose and belonging. His relationship with Charlotte blossomed, grounded in their shared love for the Winslow and its stories. Together, they explored the city, finding inspiration in its streets and bringing those experiences back to the hotel, where every corner held a story. As the season changed and the hotel continued to thrive, the trio realized the lasting impact of their journey. They had uncovered truths, healed old wounds, and brought new life to a place that was a bridge between the past and the future. Eleanor, Charlotte, and Jonathan often found themselves in the grand ballroom, now bustling with events and celebrations. They would look around at the vibrant crowd, a tapestry of faces from all walks of life, and feel a profound sense of accomplishment. The Winslow had become more than just a building. It was a symbol of resilience, a place where history was cherished and new memories were forged. In quiet moments, each would reflect on their journey. Eleanor saw the Winslow not just as her inheritance but as her legacy, a testament to the strength of her family and their ability to adapt and overcome. The hotel had become a part of her identity, inseparable from who she was and who she wanted to be. Charlotte's quest for understanding her family's past had led her to a deeper understanding of herself. The Winslow was a part of her story, interwoven with her identity. She had found a sense of purpose in preserving the hotel's legacy, ensuring it would be a beacon for future generations. For Jonathan, the Winslow was a never-ending source of inspiration. It was where he had found his voice as an author, and where he had discovered a love that transcended the pages of his books. The hotel was his muse, a place that had given him stories of the past and the promise of future tales. As the story of our characters at the Winslow comes to a close, the hotel stands proud, a symbol of elegance and endurance. It is a place where the past is honored, the present celebrated, and the future welcomed with open arms. Eleanor, Charlotte, and Jonathan continue to be the custodians of the Winslow's legacy, each playing their part in preserving its history and ensuring its future. Their paths, once separate, are now forever intertwined with the hotel's destiny. The Winslow, with its walls echoing the laughter, tears, and dreams of countless souls, continues to be a haven where stories are told and retold, where each guest leaves a piece of themselves and, in return, takes a piece of its history with them. As our tale concludes, the Winslow stands not just as a hotel, but as a testament to the enduring power of stories and the unbreakable bonds they forge. It is a place where past and future converge, where every corner holds a whisper of the past and every face tells a story waiting to be discovered. In the heart of the city, the Winslow remains, a beacon of history, a home for dreamers, and a sanctuary for those seeking to connect with the timeless dance of life. For Eleanor, Charlotte, and Jonathan, it is not the end but a continuing journey in a place where every ending is just a new beginning. And so the story of the Winslow, with its echoes of elegance and whispers of the past, lives on, an everlasting legacy of love, resilience, and the timeless beauty of stories waiting to be told. In the spring that followed, the Winslow began to undergo a transformation. Under Eleanor and Charlotte's guidance, the hotel was being restored, not just in its physical grandeur, but also in spirit. The hidden room and its contents became part of a special exhibit within the hotel, a tribute to Clara and her lost love, and a symbol of the many stories the Winslow held. Jonathan's book, titled Echoes of the Winslow, was a poignant account of the hotel's history, intertwined with the personal journeys of Eleanor, Charlotte, and himself. It was a story that resonated with many, a reminder of the enduring nature of love and the often painful constraints of societal expectations. Eleanor, once the guardian of her family's secrets, found new purpose in being a preserver of histories. She saw the Winslow not just as a legacy of her family, but as a living museum, a place where the past was honored and the present welcomed. Charlotte, who had come to the Winslow seeking answers about her family's past, found herself deeply connected to its future. Her business acumen, combined with her newfound appreciation for history, made her an ideal partner in bringing the Winslow into a new era. Jonathan, through his writing, had given voice to the silent stories of the Winslow. His journey had started as a quest for a good story, but it had become so much more. He had become a part of the hotel's legacy, a chronicler of its past, and a witness to its rebirth. As the renovations neared completion, the Winslow hosted a grand reopening. Guests from near and far came to witness the revival of the historic hotel. The ballroom, once a silent witness to hidden grief and forbidden love, now echoed with music, laughter, and celebration. Eleanor, Charlotte, and Jonathan stood together looking over the crowd. They saw in the faces of the guests the reflection of the Winslow's enduring allure. It was a place where the past was embraced, the present celebrated, and the future anticipated with hope. In that moment, they realized that while they had been searching for and uncovering the secrets of the past, they had also been writing their own story, a story of discovery, connection, and the beginning of new legacies. As the night wore on, Jonathan took a moment to step onto the balcony overlooking the city. The lights of the modern skyline glittered against the night sky, a stark contrast to the historic elegance of the Winslow. He thought about the intertwining of past and present, the timeless nature of human stories, and the enduring echoes of history. Down below, Eleanor and Charlotte continued to mingle with the guests, their laughter a testament to the joy of newfound connections and the satisfaction of a shared accomplishment. The Winslow, once a relic of the past, was now a bridge to the future, a place where the echoes of yesteryears met the vibrant pulse of today. It stood as a testament to the power of uncovering truths, the beauty of preserving history, and the importance of forging new paths. As the evening came to a close, the trio reflected on their journey. They had started as strangers, each driven by their own motives and desires, but had become partners in a shared mission. The Winslow, with its walls steeped in history, had brought them together, teaching them the value of the past and the promise of the future. The story of the Winslow was far from over. It was merely the beginning of a new chapter. Eleanor, Charlotte, and Jonathan knew that there were more stories waiting to be discovered, more secrets hidden within the hotel's elegant façade. But for now, they took solace in the knowledge that they had played their part in honoring the legacy of those who came before them and paving the way for those who would follow. As the guests departed, leaving behind the laughter and echoes of a night to remember, the Winslow stood tall and proud, a beacon of history in the heart of a modern city. It was a reminder that in every corner of our world, there are stories waiting to be told, histories waiting to be uncovered, and legacies waiting to be continued. And so, under the starlit sky, the Winslow whispered its tales of love, loss, and hope, its walls holding the memories of the past and the dreams of the future, forever echoing the timeless dance of history and life.